Hey guys, today me and AeroFlame are here to bring you guys once again a versus battle, but this time this is going to be a unique type of versus battle. Instead of the typical one-on-one or the recent 2-on-2 battle we discussed, shameless plug, today we are going to be looking at a gauntlet. We are going to be answering the question, can Mihawk beat the Yonkos? And if he could beat every single Yonko, could he actually solo them if they were to all try and jump him? And as you heard, he's going to be fighting all of the Yonkos, and to keep it simple, I'm going over the fights based on who me and Aero think would give Mihawk a much harder fight, and I'll let Aero explain how the gauntlet will work.
Hello everyone, it's your boy AeroFlame back again for another video with the boy Tyler. As he said, we're going to be going over this gauntlet style, and I will be telling you all how the levels are going to work. Level 1, we've got Buggy, obviously, and then level 2, Big Mom, level 3, Blackbeard, level 4 is going to be Luffy, including the most recent Gear 5, obviously. Level 5 is going to be Shanks, Old Beard, and Kaido, and level 6 is going to be Prime Whitebeard.
It gets even deeper when considering the fact that Mihawk and Shanks have a statement of being the strongest rivalry, which would include Roger and Whitebeard's. Mihawk's blade has not only unparalleled hardness, but is a weapon stronger than Whitebeard's staff that can withstand his ridiculous physical strength. And in the same place where it stated Whitebeard is the strongest pirate and Garp is the strongest grandpa, Mihawk's statement is he's the strongest beyond the strongest. So for those who think it's just a title and Mihawk is a fraud who sucks at Marineford and is Yonko commander tier, this is really not true, and Mihawk, obviously, aside from attempting to fight Whitebeard, wasn't planning on taking anyone seriously. With all this aside, let's now talk about how far he would get against the emperors of the world. Level 1 is Buggy, and despite him technically actually having the best counter to Mihawk's ability, Mihawk could just bypass it with Haki with one slash, and he's already gotten past this without any type of Haki anyway. Mihawk just next Buggy, no diff, haha, Buggy solos, yeah, not funny. Anyway, at level 2, we have Big Mom, who, unlike Buggy, has actual feats. She portrays relativity to Kaido before her amps and becomes a lot stronger during her battle with Kid and Law. They manage to barely win with the skin of their teeth even after awakening their devil fruits, and more than likely she probably beats them in a one-on-one. Although she is more than likely above base Kaido, we know hybrid Kaido considers her pathetic and would slam her by the end of Wano, and Big Mom herself is also a confirmed master swordsman, as she can utilize the sword style that the giants use on Elbaf, which would mean that Mihawk would just outright scale above her, as he is the strongest swordsman. So therefore he would just slice her down and yeah, it's over. Mihawk as well scales to Shanks, who we will get into later as to why he is a way stronger Yonko than Big Mom, and at worst her regeneration is going to be a little annoying for Mihawk, but as we know, Haki transcends all, and Mihawk would just neutralize her devil fruit abilities. At worst, Mihawk is mid-diffing her.
This perfectly transitioned into our next level, who like Big Mom is going to rely on his fruit to try and secure the W, and like with Big Mom, it won't work. You see, Teach has statements of being the strongest, but as Ty said time and time again on the channel, it's more than likely in reference to his abilities, since he can negate fruits and use the strongest parameciate fruit, that being the Gura no Mi. Unfortunately for Blackbeard, he can't even use the darkness fruit against Mihawk since he doesn't have a fruit to negate. It's also stated by Kaido that Haki transcends all, as Ty said earlier. Mihawk should have a much greater Haki than BB at this point, so I think Mihawk would have a better concrete scaling of being the strongest. Since Blackbeard mainly has this through abilities, he can't even use it to his fullest against Mihawk. To become one of the strongest, you need to have Haki, as Haki transcends all. Blackbeard would try to pull Mihawk and laugh. Mihawk would have to hit him with a large scale, nameless slash, by the way, and would essentially be playing real life Fruit Ninja. It looks worse on Blackbeard's end, who's jumping Law and sweating, and even then being taken aback by S-Hawk's power. Due to Mihawk at the very least being in the same realm as Shanks, I think it would be enough to say Blackbeard's cooked, as he's shown to have advanced Haki, while Blackbeard mainly relies on his devil fruit. So, as of right now, I think Blackbeard gets his head caved in. I'm giving this a highest of medium difficulty.
Next step for Mihawk is to now take on some of the more proficient users in advanced Haki, that being Luffy. We've seen Luffy master all forms of Haki through Whole Cake and Wano, while Kaido would be the one to state that Haki is superior to relying on devil fruits. He also shares the largest Haki clash we've seen on panel with Kaido. However, the main thing that counts against Luffy here is that he is mainly susceptible to cutting attacks, and he's going to be fighting against the world's strongest swordsman here. So if anybody is going to be taking advantage of this weakness, it's definitely going to be Mihawk. And I do not think that current Gear 5 Luffy is reaching the very top tiers of power quite yet. And I think if he tried to hockey clash with Mihawk and his Black Blade, he'd end up getting his arm sliced off like how he saw in that one future. At best, Gear 5 Luffy is like pressing a Kaido who just got done fighting like 4 of his friends, fighting Luffy 3 times before this, along with his daughter, and also holding up an entire island while drinking alcohol. So there's really no way I can confidently say that Luffy just slams Mihawk here.
The next level is Shanks, Old Beard, and Kaido. And we'll start with Kaido as that has the most ground to cover. Kaido's main claim to fame is his world's strongest creature title and the fact that in land, sea, or air, if it's one-on-one, you should always bet on Kaido. Obviously, this puts a huge question mark next to the ability of Mihawk to be able to defeat him, as this would imply that Kaido should be the strongest man alive in terms of a one-on-one fight.
Arrows might cut out, so future Tyler and taking over. We have no idea where this statement comes from, and plus Kaido never really leaves Wano, so this could just be in reference to the warriors in Wano. This makes sense as Kaido was directly intercepted by Shanks and both had opposing goals, and yet Kaido ended up retreating. The same Shanks who Mihawk directly fights and is still remaining to be the strongest swordsman, meaning he should just be above Shanks blatantly. Shanks as well as the same person who was relative to Old Whitebeard, and despite Old Whitebeard having this title of being the world's strongest pirate, not only did he have this back when he was in his prime, but Whitebeard himself would naturally just get weaker as the fight goes on, due to Whitebeard sustaining his strength through being on life support, which in a fight he isn't going to be in. And I already brought up the book where it did reference Old Whitebeard and Old Garp, who I do believe should be stronger than Old Whitebeard, and despite both of them having a statement of being the strongest, we have Mihawk who is beyond the strongest. So although it's much tougher for Mihawk to get the W in all 3 of these fights would be high diff, I do think a case could be made for Mihawk being above all 3 fighters.
Lastly, we have the final challenge that Mihawk must complete, that being Prime Whitebeard. Prime Newgate was capable of rivaling the king of the pirates, along with rivaling other powers like Rocks, Shiki, Prime Garp, and others. Mihawk's only real argument going for him is having a weapon that should be stronger than Whitebeard's Murakumogiri, and the Murakumogiri can at least take the force of Whitebeard's full power. In the data book detailing the blades and their wielders, such as Ace, Murakumogiri, and Yoru, Whitebeard's Naginata is stated to be able to withstand the full might of his power, and it shows Whitebeard in a clash with Roger. It then goes on to talk about Yoru. In the same data book, it states that black blades are the most elite blades in existence, with Yoru being the strongest of them all. While this does definitely imply that Yoru, and thus Mihawk, is on that level, it's simply not something we can say concretely, and especially not firmly enough to say that he beats someone like Prime Beard without any real proof. Unironically, a case can be made for Mihawk doing very decently against this version of Whitebeard, but without his stamina draining and his powers at his absolute peak, it's safer to say that Whitebeard eventually brings Mihawk down. Not only does he have his advanced haki and better experience with it, but Mihawk would now have to deal with the Gura Gura this time, which he has no real answer to. Whether it be a Gura Gura or an advanced conqueror's attack, or hell, even a Gura Gura advanced conqueror's enhanced attack, Mihawk wouldn't have anything to say that he can survive this. We do also know Whitebeard at this point can fight people for days as well, so Mihawk will probably just get worn out and cooked just as he is about to win.
And so, with us just going through all the levels, we come to the conclusion that Mihawk unfortunately does not solo every Yonko. I'm sorry, my fellow Mihawk stands. I let you down. I will never lose again. But seriously, let us know how far you think Mihawk gets against the Yonkos. And for those who are going to comment down below, well, you didn't actually answer who would win if Mihawk just fought all of the... Obviously, if Prime Whitebeard can beat him and all the other Yonkos jump him, yes, Mihawk loses. Who would have thought? But seriously, let us know how far you think Mihawk gets against the Yonkos, or if you think he clears. Regardless, Dracula Mihawk will forever suffer from success.
All for one.